What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego. A storm is coming. Conor McGregor, the rematch is here. Poirier versus McGregor 2, only on ESPN Plus. Use my link in the description. UFC 257. I'll see you at the fights.
Who the fuck is that guy?
We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Wow. Vasily Lomachenko, who just lost to Teofimo Lopez, now questions the accuracy of Compubox and says that he believes after him and his dad watched the fight that the punch counts were off because his dad went back and counted all of the punch and the punches landed. Wow. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. Let's jump right into it. Now, in the interview, I talked about aspects of this interview, but in the interview with Snow Queen LA, Lomachenko says that upon further review, basically he believes that Compubox was inaccurate. You know, Compubox is the official punch stats that, you know, we've seen this for years. HBO used Compubox, etc. So it's been widely used in major boxing events. And because Lomachenko lost, now he believes that another theory on him being beaten. Let me get to the direct quote because I know this is probably confusing for some of you guys to hear. Lomachenko says, "I looked at Compubox statistics. I really don't understand how that works. My father counted every punch that landed on me. It totaled only 150, but Compubox shows 180. I really question how they count punches." Wow. This man Lomachenko, I understand. You know it's weird. I guess the weird thing to me is he lost his second pro fight. People keep acting like this was a fluke. He fought Orlando Salido and he lost his second pro fight. You can say whatever you want. Salido was too big or fought dirty. He lost. So I don't think he anticipated losing to either guy. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest. Also hit the bell icon to stay up to date when I drop content. So I don't think he expected to lose to Orlando Salido or to lose to Teofimo Lopez, but I think he's later in his career. He had a bunch of belts, and I think this one hurts him more because you kind of have an excuse. You had 2 fights. It was your second fight. You challenged for a title. Guy missed weight, things like that. So you can easily say, "Hey guys, I just turned pro. Cut me some slack." But this is years later after the Salido fight, and you were the great Lomachenko, the high tech, the Matrix. You had already beaten some champions like Rocky Martinez. You had also fought guys like Gary Russell Jr. since the Salido fight, and Mariaga and Luke Campbell, a gold medalist that Ryan Garcia just knocked out, etc. So as a result, I think he knows he doesn't have any real justification. He just lost. The other thing that is putting salt in the wound is based on Lomachenko. I told you this before the fight. I feel like Lomachenko has a bit of a arrogant streak, and he kind of has his nose turned up in the air, his nose in the air, and he wants the praise and he likes that kind of thing. I'm not going to say he's narcissistic because I don't know him personally, but that's just the feeling I get, that he's a little bit brash and a little bit arrogant, a little bit cocky with it. And if you're going to lose to anybody, you definitely didn't want to lose to Teofimo Lopez Jr. and Sr. For one, Teofimo Lopez Sr. and Jr. were basically tag teaming Lomachenko's name, his credibility, his style of fight, his brand, and they were slick talking, trash talking, and saying things like, oh, we're going to send Lomachenko back to the Ukrainian dance school, and twinkle toes, you're breaking my heart. He was saying all this stuff. They was talking greasy. I remember Teofimo posted that he's in the gym and called Lomachenko the Pussy. So I think it's really grinding Lomachenko's gears, the fact that he lost to a brash kid who kind of has that same arrogance and that same confidence, and they were trash talking. So now it looks like Lomachenko is scrambling, doing anything he can to, I guess, justify why he lost. And I think Lomachenko going out like this is a bad look. It really is, because he's a 2-time gold medalist. You win some, you lose some. And so far, since the Teofimo Lopez fight, he's blamed a variety of different things as to possible reasons why he lost. And the irony of it all is you had another fighter in Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder who lost to Tyson Fury. He's a bronze medalist. Lomachenko's a gold medalist. They have different complexions. One guy is from America, Deontay Wilder, the darker complected fighter. And then you have Lomachenko, who's from the Ukraine. Now, it seems to me that when Wilder, the darker complected fighter, when he lost to Tyson Fury and we heard a bunch of different things, personally, I didn't hear out of Deontay Wilder's mouth, I didn't hear him say, I never seen no interview, I never seen the actual footage or heard post-fight interviews or anything of Wilder saying, hey, my damn suit was too heavy, so as a result, I couldn't fight. So I don't even know where that came from. If anybody who's listening to this video can send me the Instagram clip, a YouTube clip, or wherever this original source was, all I know is I woke up and everybody was talking about it and people were making Instagram graphics with the quote. And I'm like, where did he say this? Because that was in 2020. And I just feel like in the world of boxing media and, digital mob, things like that, that you would at least have some form of like an audio tape or a videotape, or Wilder was on my podcast, here's the episode on Apple, Spotify. I've never heard anything like that. I've never seen that source back to Wilder. So I don't know when he allegedly said that to the point where it made it into print. So that's one thing. But nonetheless, people still gave Wilder hell and said, you're a baby, quit crying, Tyson Fury beat you. Even though there's things with Tyson Fury and his glove in the first fight with Wilder, in the second fight with Wilder, throughout weird things, circumstantial evidence as well with Tyson Fury's gloves in the past. He's failed drug tests. But for some odd reason, people made it seem like Wilder was this insane fool who was going through any great lengths to justify why he lost. Again, make sure you guys like and subscribe. And they acted like Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, he just couldn't accept the loss. Then you heard other people lying and saying Wilder's depressed. And I have sources within the Wilder camp, and they told me that was untrue. And Wilder hasn't really talked to anybody. So how are people going around and saying Wilder is in a bad mood or he's having a difficulty coping with the loss, etc., and he's making a bunch of excuses? But then you got Lomachenko, a fighter from the Ukraine, and he's saying things that are really out of left field. And so he's talking about Compubox. I've never seen a fighter go through a battle with Compubox. And he says his dad counted 150 punches versus Compubox said 180. But maybe if there's a shot that was partially landed, they gave credit to that. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to go. The fact that Lomachenko's team or his dad or whatever watched the fight and really try to tally and count all the punches, it shows like they're clutching at straws. They're looking for any piece of evidence. You know, show a video of you counting the punches versus Compubox, and then maybe we could find the discrepancy. You know, how are we supposed to trust Anatoly Lomachenko, his dad, and his count? You know, he's an older gentleman, so why is his count accurate, but Compubox is way off? And this is their lane. This is what they do, is count punches and deliver these statistics. So I've never seen this. In addition, Lomachenko said that the game was set up against him, whatever that means. He says, I don't know who did it, but it was somebody's game. What are you talking about? Versus Deontay Wilder, again, I don't know anything about the suit. I never heard Wilder say that out of his own mouth. But the other things that we do know Wilder said about, he felt weird, he felt like a zombie, he felt like somebody spiked his drink. He believes that Tyson Fury manipulated his glove. You can physically look at Tyson Fury's glove and see an imperfection. You can see it's concave. You can see it looks devoid of padding. But a darker complected fighter like Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, you hear nonstop ridicule and name calling and saying he's crazy and he can't deal with the loss and just get over it. You got your butt kicked, etc. But then you have a 2-time gold medalist in Lomachenko, and he's already lost before. He doesn't even have 20 fights. He doesn't even have 17 fights, and he already has a second loss. And he's saying judges were bribed and accept, I guess, payoffs or whatever. He was set up. Somebody set him up, right? He's saying that the Compubox tallies are off, and his dad verified it, and they have the wrong counts. You know, he says, oh, my shoulder was messed up. Like, literally, if, typically speaking, if you really felt you won the fight, then why would it be like so many vastly different? Like, at least the Wilder quote unquote excuses were in the same lane. Somebody spiked my water, plus I think he cheated with the glove. That's all kind of a plot against you. But what Lomachenko's saying is it was somebody's game, somebody accepted and set me up, and the judges were bribed. But then he's saying Compubox did a bad, inaccurate job of their statistical information that they do for every fight. And my dad went and tallied his own. And then he's also saying he had a bum shoulder. So these are like all completely different. And I do not see anybody from old media on Lomachenko's back like they were on Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. I simply don't see it. If it weren't for channels like mine, then some people wouldn't even know that Lomachenko is doing this right now, right? And it's crazy, and it just goes to show you what I've always stated on my channel with the double standards. You have a guy like Lomachenko who's a terrific fighter, but he lost. He's blaming all these different entities with, if you thought Wilder had no proof, he really has no proof. Like I said, whether you believe Wilder or not, Wilder has a leg to stand on because we can physically see something if you open your own eyes with Tyson Fury's glove where it looks like it's saggy. In the first fight where it looks like his glove is flopping around and the laces don't look securely and tightly fastened. And if they were, then they wouldn't have that much wiggle room and that much play. That's something we can actually see. This stuff with Lomachenko, he's going against Compubox. You know, I'm not about to sit there and watch. That's not even a classic enough fight for me to go back and watch it whilst counting every single punches. You know what I'm saying? And again, which one is it? Compubox got your tallies wrong, or your shoulder was messed up? And it's sounding like the Pacquiao Mayweather with these big fights. a lot of times the fighters don't want to lose such an important fight. So you hear all these crazy things, and it's just funny to hear the double standards and what people choose to go after, like Deontay Wilder. They say he's crazy and he sounds ridiculous and he's making himself look bad, but I don't see that many people ragging on Vasyl Lomachenko, and he's actually saying this. Like, you can go to Snow Queen LA or these interviews, or you'll see multiple people posting about this. You can see it on like an actual screen. I never heard Wilder. Again, if you guys have it, please shoot it over my way in the comment section. Send the link of Wilder saying, I couldn't compete because my legs were drained, because my suit was too heavy, and that's why I lost. Because people keep attaching that to Wilder, but again, I have never heard him say that. And I'm pretty in tune with boxing. I subscribe to the popular channels, things like that. People send me stuff. I haven't seen it. It's like something that a topic that came up, and I never even heard Wilder talk about that. Like, he was on the PBC podcast. He's done a couple of interviews since then, things like that. But meanwhile, we can watch Lomachenko. And he's believing that the numbers were off. He says when he would fight Teofimo on the inside, he landed hooks. It was him who was holding, clinching, and hugging me. So who was avoiding who? We need to get this straight. So he's saying and see, that's what I'm saying. Lomachenko is literally saying so many different things. He says, when I came back home and watched the fight, I said I didn't lose the fight. And every time I watch it, I say the same thing. I did not lose. People don't lose the way I lost this fight. And people don't become undisputed the way Lopez did. You know, he said they show it, the numbers to the people, but no one sits and counts. They showed 30 jabs thrown, 15 headshots, and 15 body shots. But people see that and say, sure, it seems accurate. So, you know, he's going in on these Compubox numbers and questioning them. But I don't base a fight based on Compubox, me personally. When I'm judging the fight, I don't sit at my computer or TV, or when I'm live at the fight with one of the Compubox little clickers to count the punches. I do like everybody, and I visualize the fight, see what I'm seeing, see who has the, you know, better defense, the better selection of punches landed, ring IQ, ring generalship, counter punches, power shots, jabs, you know, who's hurt, knockdowns, you know, and I factor in those things to judge a fight. So me, I don't even know the Compubox numbers until the end of the fight when they give it to the media, or I see it on Twitter if I'm not at the fight, or they release it. And I watched the fight in real time, did a Boxingego watch party, and I comfortably had Teofimo Lopez up on the fight. And that's without me even, and I picked him before the fight too. And that's without me even looking at Compubox. So he's saying people are like looking at they said he landed 30. So that sounds about right. But I wasn't even doing that. I'm not looking at Compubox as I'm watching you get your ass whooped. I'm assessing the fight, and I see that Teofimo is beating you, and you didn't do anything for the first 6-7 rounds. So as a result, I'm giving Teofimo those rounds. The fact is, Lomachenko came on super late. He showed some signs of life. Golovkin kind of did this versus Canelo in the second fight. Golovkin was getting tore up in the second fight for the first half of the fight. And about the same thing, round maybe 8 in that fight, go watch it, Golovkin started to come on, and there was a point where he hurt Canelo in the second fight. But as the saying goes, too little, too late. You know, sometimes that's why you have to get those game plans and those various things started much earlier, because you don't want to be down on the scorecards 6-7 rounds. And then what else killed Lomachenko was the fact that he gave up so many early rounds, and you decisively and clearly were hurt and lost the 12th round. So even hypothetically, because Lomachenko did win some rounds, you know, in between when he started to pick it up after round 7 or whatever. But a round you would have needed in a 12-round fight, based on how many early rounds you lost, would have clearly been the 12th round. and you lost that. So I feel comfortable, I feel firm that Lomachenko lost that fight, you know, and that's not even with Compubox numbers or values even being factored in. I watched the fight, and to me, you lost the fight, right? You would have at the very least, if you're being super reasonable, he would at the very least needed round 12, and he clearly lost that. That's probably one of the rounds, if not the round, he lost the worst because he was hurt in it. So I don't understand this statements and stuff from Lomachenko, and I wanted to make this video talking about the double standards, because the double standards are ridiculous in the world of boxing. The double standards that we continue to see. Wilder, he's put on this naughty list and given all sorts of names and called the excuse meister and things like that. And Lomachenko, he's doing at the very least the same, if not worse. And I think it's worse because the stuff Lomachenko is saying, what is this based on? Like, Teofimo doesn't have a history of changing his gloves out, or he never failed no drug test, stuff like that. Tyson Fury seems like a seedy individual based on things he's been involved with, people he's been involved with, drug tests that he's failed. You know, pig farmers from Lancaster coming up and saying he owes me money and I bailed him out, and, you know, I never sold him wild boar. The glove situation in the Christian Hammer fight. So Wilder's not looking so crazy. And the last thing I'll say about the Wilder situation is, you notice everybody's checking gloves in the sport of boxing. See, nobody seems to believe me. Nobody seems to believe Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, but you see Tyson Fury trying to get out the fight. And you also see that other people unrelated are making sure their opponent's gloves are checked. And we found a recent example of this in the O'Shaquie Foster fight, where they looked into the opponent's gloves and found it was devoid of padding and it wasn't up to regulation, and it wasn't caught by the commission. It was caught, and that was the debut for the NBC Ring City or whatever, and it was caught by a trainer for the guy protecting his fighter, not the commission, once again. Anyway, Lomachenko, he's looking pretty bad. I want to make this video. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. He's blaming Compubox. He said his shoulder. Like, so the Compubox is off. This is what he wants us to believe. The judges were bribed. The Compubox were off, but you initially didn't say anything about the tallies were off. You said it was your shoulder, and you said that Teofimo's team and Top Rank and everybody knew his shoulder was bad. Then you should have pulled out of the fight, you know? So you want us to believe your shoulder was bad, but Compubox is off, and you really outlanded Teofimo with a bad shoulder, even though we just watched you not do anything for 6-7 rounds. You know, I don't think Lomachenko had any visions of losing, and this is just what's coming with it. That's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.